The following program is brought to you by the Alaska Humanities Forum, made possible through a grant from the U.S. Department of Education.
When I first found out, I started to worry, how am I going to feed her and how I going to take care of her.
I was afraid he would be bored. You know, is he going to be bored? There's not enough entertainment here.
I really have more of a respect and more of an understanding for the Yupik culture and life in a village.
You know, just come with an open mind and come and prepare yourself to see some really awesome things.
When you hear the words rural Alaska, you think of the vast wilderness, winding rivers and streams, an unending field of ice, or wildlife roaming free on the tundra, and mountain ranges that stretch as far as the eye can see. But for the native people who live here, rural Alaska means much, much more.
What is the name of the leader of the tribal council? What are the responsibilities of the council of in the village? And you also might ask how it compares to the mayor in the village, because they actually have both. So this creates a really interesting situation in your villages.
These 16 students from Anchorage, Fairbanks, and the Mat-Su Valley are about to learn the meaning of rural life. They're learning as much as they can about the cultures and lifestyles of the different native groups of Alaska. It's all part of the Rose Urban-Rural Exchange Program, a program made possible by the U.S. Department of Education and the Alaska Humanities Forum. The purpose of the program is to build understanding and a statewide sense of community by bringing urban students to rural Alaska, where they learn about Alaska Native culture and rural life, and by bringing rural students to urban centers, well, they will experience city life. It is an experience that will hopefully influence these young ambassadors' outlook on life and their view of the world, providing an opportunity for both rural and urban students to learn and understand the differences and similarities between urban and rural life. Preparation for rural ambassadors begins with a series of orientation sessions, which help rural students become aware of cultural awareness issues, life skills for the fast pace of urban living, exposure to urban-rural issues related to education, health, governance, and subsistence, and any other concerns that may need to be addressed. Urban ambassadors also receive orientation sessions that help prepare them for their 2-week experience in a rural Alaska community. These sessions cover many of the issues that rural Alaskans face today, as well as cultural awareness issues, life skills for rural living, and information regarding tribal government, healthcare, education, and subsistence.
Well, the Rose Urban-Rural Exchange and Babiche Cultural Exchange, we did 3 weekends, full-day Saturdays, 3 Saturdays that we went and they talked to us and did orientation, had us brainstorm ideas. Mainly that was for developing our project that we're going to be doing when we come home. but they also were having us think about what it might be like that would be different from where we are at home. And so for preparing, I did that. I also, both my parents lived in Unalakleet for 4 years, and so I talked to them about it. And I packed, so I guess that's a form of preparing.
It's this preparation that will help both rural and urban students get along in a new and unfamiliar environment. But even the most in-depth orientation can't compare to the moment these kids get off the plane and set foot in their new home for the next 2 weeks. It's that moment when many misconceptions are set straight and realization settles in.
I was expecting to some level a more traditional type family, I guess, maybe living in a small log house somewhere or a sod hut out on the tundra, but they've got a pretty nice house here. And the first night I brought some pizza and we had that, but then they've had a lot of pizza over this time, so I haven't really had a whole bunch of traditional food, though. We just started having some Eskimo ice cream, they call it, and it's called a guduk, and some dried fish.
This is, as actual subsistence, most of them live. And, going out and catching the fish, and that's actually dinner, It's not like, oh, well, we're not going to have burgers tonight, we're going to have fish. It's like, oh, tonight we're going to have fish. So it's really amazing that, people can do this. It's like, wow, I have a new respect for that.
Bryce Ward and Eric Johnson of Fairbanks, Alaska, both spent their time as exchange students in the Yupik village of Akiachak, located on the Kuskokwim River. While Bryce was placed with a traditional Yupik family, Eric found home away from home at the George residence, a non-traditional Yupik family. For Diane George and her husband, there was a little hesitance at first about housing an exchange student for 2 weeks. Diane George explains.
I travel a lot, and so I was concerned about, how my schedule would turn out. Like, I was gone this past weekend because I was in Antioch for regional basketball tournament, which is something I had planned before this had come up, and so I was somewhat concerned about that. But my husband is here, and so that worked out all right. And I was a little bit concerned about what we would do with him because, as I was telling you earlier, we're definitely one of the most non-traditional families in the community, and so I was trying to think about, okay, what are we going to do to allow him to participate in the culture while not totally flip-flopping our lives. And I've kind of worked my way through that over the last week and realized that I'm not the entertainment director.
Two young ladies with the Rose Urban Rural Exchange Program, Rachel Mulvihill and Laura Nations, spent their time in the village of Wainwright, located on the shores of the Chukchi Sea, just southwest of Barrow, Alaska. Host parent Helen Pituk recalls her concerns about having Laura live with her.
When I first found out, I started to worry, how am I going to feed her and how I going to take care of her. But they gave us money, like $300 for 2 weeks in order to, so we just use that for her, the groceries to buy whatever she can eat and last that long. After that, I found out there was nothing I can worry about.
Within the rural villages that are hosting these urban exchange students, there seems to be a common occurrence. The youth of these villages are, in essence, taking over as the rural hosts, showing the visiting exchange students around the village and providing the entertainment as well.
My granddaughter was living here too. They're just like they were sisters, and they get along really good. Most of my granddaughters, they always take her anywhere, like high school for basketball or anywhere they walk. Most of my grandchildren think they are getting older and show them how we live. She experienced that, and she make lots of good friends around here. Lots of girlfriends, and when she was leaving, some girls come around and really was hate to see her go.
Further south, urban exchange students Ian Jacobs and Dylan Roberts found themselves in the village of Russian Mission, a Yupik community located on the banks of the mighty Yukon River.
Baby one.
Jim Duffy is the airline representative for the village of Russian Mission. Working for the airlines often means long and busy days for Jim, hauling people and freight to and from the airport all day long. So when he was asked to become a host parent, needless to say, he was concerned about being able to meet the exchange students' needs.
One of the things I was concerned about is that he would be able to get out in the country, so I talked to some friends that go out checking traps and monocking, and they were willing to take him along. They were happy to take him along with them.
You could bench press this, girls.
Being a host for the urban exchange student, my job hasn't been affected at all. My kids have pretty much taken over the student that came in, and it's cooking for an extra mouth, but it hasn't been any burden at all. It's just like another member of the family.
From all the testimonies from the different rural families that are hosting these urban exchange students, the Rose Urban Rural Exchange Program is not only having a positive effect on the rural and urban exchange students who are participating, but also on the host parents, families, and communities these young people are visiting.
Being a host, how to be a host, I found that I experienced that I challenged other people that wanted to experience being as a host parent. It's fun, lots of fun. We had fun with her. We treat her like our own daughter, and she had fun with my grandchildren.
I just encourage families from villages out here to participate in the program, show them what village life is like.
So I think it's good for kids to be able to experience different lifestyles. Even though the differences aren't that great, there are some differences. And I think, again, just seeing that there's more similarities than differences.
And by the time she's gone, we missed her. And we called her a couple of times. When are you coming back? We miss you up here.
Just from what I've seen so far, since this is the first time that it has happened in Russian Mission, and a lot of the other kids from the village have been coming over to my house to visit with the exchange student, Ian. I think that the next time an opportunity arises for a family in Russian Mission to host an exchange student, that these other high school kids and junior high kids are going to volunteer their parents to bring the student to their house.
She was really excited being, I guess she wanted to stay more, but her time was ready for her to go back home, because she's got her own parents, but we're her second parents.
For more information on the Rose Urban Rural Exchange Program, contact the Alaska Humanities Forum, toll-free voicemail at 1-888-687-6865, or call 907-272-5301.